This is half of what I have cleaned out of one area in one little storage spot in our house. And it has been an eye-opening experience. My name's Danelle, and I am preparing to move out of this house that I have lived in for 30 years here in Southeast Alaska. And this has been really exhausting, sorting through all of these sentimental items that I have kept over the years. I actually have been pondering, why did I keep so much of these things? Most of them are just artwork and just little cute things that my kids made, but some of it, a lot of it, 80% of it is just random drawings and little things that they wrote. A lot of it is just schoolwork. I'm not really sure why I kept it. The only thing I can think is I love being a mom so much. I was a stay-at-home mom for more than 20 years, and I was just clinging on to that every little moment. I didn't want to forget how cute my kids were and how creative they were, and I just couldn't bear to let go of it. So I collected immense amounts of this stuff. Let me know in the comments below if you are doing the same thing, or if you have made a big transition or a move and realized that you also were saving way too many things and holding on to things that you probably should have let go. Now I'm paying the price, having to sort through all this, and it's emotionally taxing as well as physically taxing. I'm having to crawl on my hands and knees into these storage areas that are under the eaves of our house. I've taken out, I think, 6 large garbage bags full of stuff, and I'm just having to deal with all of it. I kept everything from my 30-year-old son's, the bottle that he had when he was maybe 4 or 5, and sometimes he would just want to have a little bit of milk or something like that. I don't know why I kept that. It almost seems a little bit obsessive, to tell you the truth. But I did remember this morning, when I was faced with all this, something that I had read in a book about Buddhism. And I printed this out because I think this is very pertinent to my situation, and maybe thinking this way will help you too if you're in the same position that I am in. This is from a book called The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching, Transforming Suffering into Peace, Joy, and Liberation. The quote says, "Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If, in our heart, we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free." Freedom is really important to me. It was a huge theme of growing up in my family. It is one reason why, probably the main reason, that my dad and my mom wanted to retire early and move onto a sailboat so that we could adventure around and not be tied down to a traditional job. So freedom and not having a lot of possessions to tie us down was really important to our family. I still value freedom highly, but now that I just live in a regular house, I obviously collected way too much stuff that is now making me lose this feeling of freedom, because I'm really tied down to this. It's taking me hours to sort through it as I prepare to move in 9 months. And I'm moving off of an island in Alaska, so I need to have as few items to move as possible. We're going to have to put things on a barge, like a container, and then it will be barged down to Seattle, and then we're going to have to move all that stuff to wherever I settle eventually. So I don't need all of this tying me down. I really feel in my heart that that is an excellent quote to keep in mind going through all of this. This is also emotionally difficult too. Most of this stuff is just happy artwork and things like that, but I also found my dad's baby book, which was cute, but also a little sad, because along with that, I found these 4 books that my grandmother, my dad's mother, typed out, and it tells the story kind of cryptically, really. They're mostly scriptures and evangelical. She was a very passionate evangelical Christian. And the reason that she became very obsessed with religion is because in her young years, she had a lot of extremely terrible things happen to her. And she also had some type of mental illness, I believe. I'm not sure what. I mean, I only met her when she was old, or I only remember her when she was old, obviously. But in these books that she wrote, she talks about her younger life. She met a man and became pregnant. That child was born with spina bifida and experienced some very severe physical disabilities. And that daughter died when she was 19 years old. So that, of course, was incredibly difficult for my grandma. And to add to that stress, the father of that daughter actually sued for custody, and my grandma lost custody of her, so that was really terrible. And my father, who was about 10 years older than that daughter, he just kind of barely remembered Sandy. But my grandma, my dad's mom, somewhere in here, and she alludes to this in her stories, her mother made her or put her into a mental hospital. And I know that she had shock therapy. I think she probably had extreme depression, possibly bipolar. My dad also had a lot of bipolar behaviors. He never was diagnosed. My brother struggles with bipolar. So I think that must have been part of it. So she also did not raise my father. My father was raised by his grandparents. And that was also really hard on my grandma to lose custody of him. And later she had a second daughter, a third child, and she adopted that child out. So she had a lot of difficulty and tragedy that way. She, in the middle of all this, became addicted to drugs and alcohol. She ended up down on what we used to call Skid Row. It was a very rough section of Tacoma, Washington. She had abusive partners. She was beaten up a few times, more than a few times. She actually, she was getting ready for work one morning. She tells a story in here, and her bathrobe got caught on fire from a space heater, and all she remembers is waking up in the hospital, and she almost died from the burns that she got through that experience. But she found religion when she went to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and that change, that transformation probably saved her life, because she was living an extremely dangerous life at that time. So what I remember of her is being a very passionate Christian, and she would speak in tongues, and she would listen to the Praise the Lord Club on the TV in one room, while a Christian broadcasting channel was playing on the radio in the other room. And she was just very passionate. So this is a tough process, going through all of this sorting, and I've been going through a lot of weird emotions. I found letters from a boy in college that I don't even remember rebuffing, but apparently I did, and there was this passionate letter that I saved all these years of him misunderstanding me, and I also was very insecure and terrible at communicating, so I probably wasn't being clear with him, and I'm sure it was mostly my fault. So I'm going through all of this head space stress and old memories and learning new things about my family. But there's also been fun things, of course, all of the adorable art that my kids have made. I'm finding birthday cards, the Christmas cards I've saved, really cute things that my kids made when they were little. And I even found this. I was a member of Ketchikan Volunteer Rescue Squad K-9 team for 30 years this month. And I just recently did kind of a soft retire from that. I still have one certified air sent wilderness search and rescue dog, Annie. She, not Annie, but Edna. Annie was my very first search and rescue dog. Edna's asleep in the other room. She's 11 now. But I found this is my first little certification, official certificate. that we certified in 2000. We were the first search and rescue canine team, Annie and I were, that ever got certified in southern Southeast Alaska. So I was very proud of that. And we even won the Community Service Award for the year from the Chamber of Commerce in 2000. So although some of the things I've been finding are difficult, this was really cool. And I hope you enjoyed the pictures of my dogs. And anyway, if you've been going through a huge move, a midlife transition, if you have any advice for me, I'd love to hear it. Even if it's just encouragement, I could really use that. And I'd love to hear your experiences. Are there any ways to speed this up, make it easier, learn to let go? That would be great to hear. I really appreciate you being here. If this is kind of a topic and a big life story that is interesting to you, then consider subscribing. Thanks so much. Have a great day.